Another common use for Fiddler is to troubleshoot problems, which shouldn't be too surprising based on this was why it was originally created by Eric Lawrence. It's very useful to find mistyped links and non-deployed files. So JavaScript, CSS, images, sometimes it's difficult when you view a web page and it's not working as you would expect to understand exactly where the problem is, but Fiddler makes it very obvious with red-colored 404 links that you're missing particular files, or you might have them misnamed, or in the common syndrome of it worked fine on my machine but didn't work when I moved it to a server. There are times when you use publish processes and such that don't move all of the files that you would expect, and it's not obvious because looking at the code it worked on your machine just fine. When you open up Fiddler and run it remotely, it becomes very obvious that that file is not where it should be, and can lead you to understand that the file wasn't deployed as you would expect. It's easy to see server errors, connection issues. The other thing you can notice is when there are cached items at play. So particular files can have images or style sheets or JavaScript set with expiration values, so they're stored in the browser cache. So there'll be times where you might update an image on your web server. You can go pull it up from the web browser on the client, and yet it's still showing the old image. If you were to open Fiddler, you'd be able to see that there was not a new request made for that particular image, which would lead you down the path of it's probably cached in the local browser, so then you could go consult the browser's cache and find the file. But the fact that it wasn't requested from the server would explain why that image was not updated as you would expect. To see how easy it is to troubleshoot problems with Fiddler, we'll take a look at a page that looks visually very similar to what we've seen already. Everything seems to be okay with this compared to what we've seen before, but if we were to click the hyperlink at the bottom, we'll see that the image does not show up in the place where we would expect. Before, had we clicked that, it was a standard pop-up. So if we go back and look at Fiddler for some clues, we can see that this request for the thickbox.css returned a 404. So we'll go look and see what's wrong with that. So as we look through the particular source, we'll see that right here is where our link is. If we were to look in the styles folder, we'll see that it should have actually been just thickbox.css, not thickbox1. So we will resave that. What turns out to be very useful when you're doing troubleshooting and such, if you're not familiar with this, if you hit Control F5, that will force IE to make a request all the way back to the server, so it gets an updated copy. So as we ask for that to be refreshed, we'll click the hyperlink again, and you'll see that now the pop-up works as we had expected. So again, it's just a quick way to troubleshoot and see if we're having an issue. A lot of times it'll be a 404 with something that's simply mistyped, or in the case where it works on your machine but not another machine, it's often the case that files you expect to be deployed did not work and were not deployed through your publish process as you expected.